Good morning. We are live. So let's talk a little bit about the pump yesterday, kind of how the day went. We'll talk a little bit about why we saw the bounce where we saw it, kind of what triggered it, and then what kind of expanded on it, right? And so first off, let's talk about the market open. So you can see we opened up fairly high and we just kind of bled all day long in a nice downturn. You can see on here was the first sign that we had some bullish divergence, a little bit played out. The next bullish divergence that we had here kind of tried to play out, and it just continued bullish divergence. As you could see, just bam, 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 right? This was a continuation one. This is another minor one. So a lot of stuff was showing that the overall sentiment was changing, similar to what you had here, right? Coming down, and then you had that pump. And similar to what we had here, and then we had that drop. So the indicators definitely crushed it on that. Now, we did have bearish divergence here, which was bearish divergence, but I'm going to talk about a little bit about what has changed in that, right? And so one of the key things that caused us to hold support, not necessarily caused us to get the big pump like that, is if you take let me go to the extended hours here. Let's say that didn't look quite how I wanted it. And we're gonna go to the 1 hour. There was a fairly simple trend line. Let me try to go the daily. Where is it? All right. All right. So what we were watching, if you took this wick here, right, there was a wick here from Tuesday that we were able to kind of monitor, right, on that one. And so if you come back down into the lower time frames, you can see from there, right, we actually hit it here and we continued to hold it as support. We pumped back up into that 425 range. We came down, retested it. If you go down to the smaller time frames, right, like this, then you can see on this last retest, we actually had a double bottom. It ended up breaking north. Now, what did the continuation on that, right? You know, to kind of keep us pushing upward from here is as we came in through here, right? We came up. What you want to look at from this one is we had a trend line. Where was it? I have it on my, oh, you know what? I cleared my lines today. So now we have a trend line that we want to mark right there. So if you take this one right here and you look right where we bounced on this spot here, this is going to be another key area to watch because to keep on your chart, because if we break this trend line, that's when we're going to come down for this retest, but it would have to break that trend line. If it stays above this trend line, then we haven't hit our resistance point yet. You can look for things like bearish horrendous analysis. Well, you're always welcome to log off. And so the trend line that you're going to want to watch is on here. If we continue to stay up here, we're going to go above. If we break down here, then we're going to go down. So this is on the SPY that I'm covering. So we obviously had the CPI come out. It did drop us. The main thing you want to look at on here is the when you come to the 1 hour, you can see that the news, although it did not come out as good as expected, it wasn't completely terrible, but notice we got the bounce right off that 1 hour SMA that we were talking about. And so you have that 1 hour SMA. We got the nice little bounce there. Question of the day is going to be, do we hold above here, right? And so when market opens, let's we'll take a look at the overall sentiment, see if we hold above this one and continue to create that higher high. So we do have a rejection point now, so you can take kind of an upper and mark it like this right there. And then this will kind of box us in, right? So there's a chance that we may hold support up here and then continue to squeeze before it actually collapses back down. So a key level that we have marked here obviously is 440. If you go back to prior, you can see this was a very strong support that held on the downturn that we had. And if you come back here, I mean, there's some other viable levels, but as far as where we're at, I mean, look at the zone that we're at. There's really not a lot holding it, right, as far as the resistance goes. So now it's just whether or not the news can actually support it or if it's going to drop it below. We do have our gap fill sniper. Let's take a look at that. So we have a little bit overly bullish on that. So not quite gap fill ready, but getting there. So the 30 minutes showing a potential gap fill coming. 15 minutes showing it. 5 minutes not quite as bad, likely because that balance that we had there. So as far as the harmonics go on the 1 hour, you can see back here we had the short call there, we had the long call here, and we have not flipped short on the harmonic side of things though. So overall today though, guys, you know, I mean, this is aiming downward. The overall market sentiment as far as put to call ratios has been beginning to flip bearish. The key levels that we're going to want to watch today, we did send out in our room. If you're part of our community, you'll be able to see these key levels that we have. If you're not, you can sign up, right, botjock.com. And the main thing we want to really watch is going to be this dollar. So you can see the dollar, we have a support level here that our indicators are marking and that it did find support on. We are slightly rejecting off of the 200 here on the 1 hour for the dollar. So it's going to be a key level to watch. You can probably extend this trend line here. So as we continue to range like this, if it comes into to break above this, right, then obviously we're going to push, it's going to push north, which is going to tank the markets. But if it rejects hard off of here and comes down to suppress this support again, then we're going to see that reversal push north again in the markets. So the VIX has been continuing to bleed. If you guys remember when we were talking about this on the 1 hour, this was that trend line that it actually hit on Wednesday the 4th last Wednesday. And not only was it a trend line, but we had marked it as a heavy resistance area you have here. Now, it has pulled back. The interesting thing, though, guys, is we created this higher high from this one, and this one was a higher high from this one, right? So we want to see if, as we come down, are we going to create that higher low as it flips down, right, to cause that pressure back up? Or is it going to come all the way back down to the support level like it's done in the past? So that it's going to be a really key tell for us, because if we're starting to round, it needs to hold support kind of where it is, right? Because we want to be similar to where this one is. You can almost move this line down to the bottom of that right there and see if we hold support above this one. If we hold support above this one, then we're just basically, you know, beginning that rounding, right? This is at that point our bottom. So we'll want to keep a close eye on that with the VIX. So Bitcoin, I'm kind of going through this quickly, guys. We do have some stuff to prepare for on our trading day. Should be an interesting one. Bitcoin, if you notice, even though the market's been pumping yesterday, it didn't really follow as much, right? I mean, you look at this. If you look at the Bitcoin yesterday, so Wednesday, we tanked, and it came back up from 26.6 back up to 26.9, but it really didn't move. Now, the thing I'm watching on Bitcoin is we do have this potential double bottom that's going to play out, right? That has the potential to play out. So we are above on the 1 hour, the 21 SMA. So if we look at the potential path, right? If this is a double bottom playing out, what you'd want to see is have it break above this neckline, stay above this 21 SMA. You'd want to see it break above, possibly find a rejection point with that higher high, have the retest, and then that would push us up like that to retest that 200. So that's how you want to kind of watch that one. If this is not going to play out, or if it's anything other than that double bottom, right, it's going to have heavy resistance, right, where it's kind of stuck. But we would need it to flip back below that 21 SMA on there. So now zooming out, I mean, you can see this was just a massive level of support back here, higher support right here, right, where it found the second bounce right there. So you can see the second bounce was on this prior support. The first bounce was on this prior support area. So it's definitely trying to hold, right? And so if it can hold it and complete this double bottom, it's going to take off north. If it can't, right, then it's going to tank pretty bad. So, and that's going to be heavily dependent on the market, because even though the Bitcoin didn't go up with the stocks and such, it can definitely fall with it. So just kind of keep close to those charts on that. But yeah, we'll see where the SPY lands us today. I mean, we had a nice little pullback with that. Some key areas that you're gonna want to watch. Let me just point those out for the next few minutes here. Is on the daily, as you see, right? We had our higher levels here, somewhere around that 443, 444 range, right? High 443s. That has proven to be really strong resistance, not only 1, 2, but 3 times, right? We did break through that 1, 2, 3 times. So you can see this was actually a retest of support, which pumped, creating that collapse back down to the 420. So now that we have these 2 points that you can pull, I mean, you can really extend it, right? Like this. Right, to capture the top, but I was just kind of honing it in mostly on these 2 points now that we have those as our, because it's a little bit lower, right? So it gives us a little tighter of a possible rejection point. But there, if the news supports it, right? I mean, there's a chance. I mean, we are green on the daily now, coming out of a green cycle here. We've had our doji, our confirmation, and we've had nothing but green candles since. So for me to see or believe that we have a reversal from this coming, that's going to be of any kind of strength to pull back down to this 421 level, we need to get some form of doji, some form of shooting star, some kind of reversal candle with that bearish engulfing, and then you'll see that continued pullback downward. So again, on the 1 hour, you can see here we have our first kind of stage of our bearish divergence popping up. We did have it here as well, slightly. And then we also have it here. So that's our second phase of fairly strong bearish divergence, right? So now it's going to be, in my opinion, today, it's going to be mostly about, it's the same thing I've been preaching. Is the news bad enough, or is it not good enough to hold certain levels, right? If not, they're gonna try to balance that out. So just keep a close eye on that today. The 15 minutes, you can see we had a nice little drop, but it did find its support actually right there. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, the overall sentiment from pre-market is that the news was not good enough to hold that level, so we had a correction. So this is the trend line I would follow today. If you're in the room, we have the market insight guidance out there for a little more detailed. We have the key levels and all that to watch. I would just suggest to use that, guys. I'm gonna, if I don't have anything else you guys wanted me to look at, I'm gonna probably drop off. We got the news today. When you look at the overall economic news, the only other thing we have is crude oil inventories coming out. Crude oil inventories right here. So at 11. The rest of it, I mean, we do have some news, right? But it's mostly the two heads. Tomorrow, it doesn't look like anything crazy other than just the normal stuff as far as economic news calendar goes. We do have keep in mind we still got everything going on over there in Israel. So as those things escalate, that could make an impact on the markets as well. So, but that's pretty much all I have today, guys. I'm just gonna keep these short and sweet now. We tried to aim for 30 minutes. I'm honestly trying to aim for 15 unless I have a lot of questions or people that want me to look at stuff. And if you guys want to come into the room and trade, please do so, botjock.com. Today, guys, I may be a little bit later open in the room if you're in the community, but I have to check with CK. We had some things that we're working on, so I'll put out a more clear time frame of what we want to do when we'll open that. So just give me, I'll put something out in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so on kind of the plan today as far as the room for trading. As far as guidance goes, you guys have the insight. It's already out there. Yeah, John, I'm trying to keep them more short and to the point. I mean, guys, and I want to reiterate this, before I drop off of the community one too. This event is for our community. I TikTok it and I live stream it just so you guys can kind of get an idea of what we do for the community. And so I'm trying not to spend too much time on this. It's not something we want to just go live all day. I just want to, here's our ranges, here's where we go, right? I'm not giving you the whole picture of what we see while I'm on this, because we do have TikTok. If you're watching this on the community, you have the market insights. So if you guys interested in checking that out, it's just right here under the market insights, and it all comes right in here. We get a full update. I'll show you the quick little run through, right? So check out the insights, because there's been some things that have shifted. So the blue line right here, see how you have this here? It was where it hit the prior high here, but what I had marked it for actually was, if you go to your 1 hour chart, it's my key level that I'm watching for the 21 SMA, the Bollinger's. There you go. So I just kind of marked it right there earlier. And so it also, not only is it my 21 SMA that I've been following, but it's kind of a prior high here. So that's where I put that. I may adjust this as it moves. I'm trying to trail the 21 SMA, because this is going to be a key one for me, because if you notice here, when we closed and we flipped it, we dropped the whole, another $1.50 or so after that, before finding support on that trend line. What I didn't mention, actually, I got ahead of myself, is this one's the 21 SMA. But the big pump right here was not necessarily because of this trend line. What happened was, in kind of a short and sweet, is right at 2 p.m. we happened to, just before 2, we found support, and we began to gain that support. Then the Fed FOMC meeting notes came out, and the verbiage that was mostly used was that they needed to that they believe they're in a position they can tread cautiously, right? Which means not a lot of aggressive words stating that we have to rate hike, we got to tighten, we're hitting our 2% no matter what. They're starting to shift that tone of that verbiage, and so the bounce of support coupled with that kind of soft note is what just took off, right? It just went against it. And so that's what carried that momentum. We've now created that higher high because of that. But that was the market anticipating CPI data was going to support what was said in the FOMC, or what they believed that is going to come out of that for the rate hikes. And so now the question of the day is, it didn't come out as bullish as they were hoping. It's not necessarily as bearish, right? But did the market overcorrect north from what that data balances? And that's where we might see that balance. And we may, be able to come down and end up just finding a range, right? So, keep in mind, when you have these crazy pushes north. So let me use this as an example here, and I know I'm going a little longer than I wanted, but as you find these little ranges here, right, and then you push up north, and then you notice how you're going to range up here for a little bit, and then you drop, and then you do range here a little bit. This just came down, pumped, and then it came back up into this prior level where it ranged, and then we ranged there for a little bit. And so that's kind of something you want to kind of look at, right? And so when you see here, right, we had a good week or so of ranging there. We had some ranging here, broke up, broke down, broke up. And we're kind of in that range right there. So if we break back below this blue line, really, if you look at it, we can almost mark it another line right there, right on this prior. Because if we come back down and this holds as support, which is around 433.16, then it's going to be similar to support as what we found right here, plus the higher low. So if we hold this as support, now it'll flip support, and that's going to flip us extremely bullish. However, if we don't hold this as support, right, and it does collapse back down, then now and it starts to flip as resistance, we're going to see a pretty significant drop again. So But you can see, I mean, clearly, yesterday when we had our potential double top where it found support, I mean, literally the same area that it found support here. So we did have a pump up, if you notice on this cycle here, to about 438.88, rejected to about 435.36. So we could see something similar to that, right, play out. So that's going to be a key level to watch today to see if it starts to reverse, because you can see how that reversed and then shot all the way back up to 442. So just stay close to your charts, guys. And we'll ride with the news. So, but we do have that divergence starting to show. So just be very careful on that. I do have this upper trend line. This is where we were talking about. If you look at here, if we hit this, in the next few days, I mean, you're looking 443, 444, something like that. If we get anywhere up here, I would be very careful taking your calls. I think we're going to get up there. I just don't know that we'll get up there right now. But I think we will get up there unless some news supports it. It's hard for me to believe that we'll get up there right now. But let's see how the market reacts once the market opens. We'll see how the market reacts at 9:30 after that news, plus the little drop from the pre-market. So, but I appreciate you guys' time, and